I don't want no peace. I need equal rights and justice. Now that is a quote from Peter Tosh. And this quote addresses one of the main reasons I created Hippie FarI, the beautiful, life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So welcome to another episode of Hippie FarI Reggae Radio and Podcast, recorded live in the Omen Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. Now take a second and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Put it on pause, hit subscribe, come right back. And I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, and Hippie FarI is a podcast where we discuss all things reggae. So if reggae music is your thing, you're in the right place. So tonight, we have some special guests in the studio. Today's guests are a rising trio out of Port St. Lucie, Florida, blending feel-good energy, conscious lyrics, and a love for life that you can feel in every note. After 2 years of crafting their sound behind the scenes, they've been dropping singles that radiate positivity and power, including a fresh one that's going to be hitting this week. Now we're talking roots, process, message, and a whole lot of musical fire. So let's go ahead and get into this. Folks, join me in welcoming Kola Green to the studio. What's going on, guys? How we doing?
What's up, Scotty?
Hey, Scotty, how's it going, buddy?
Not bad at all, man. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I know you guys release a lot of music, so that means you're in the studio all the time. You probably work too, like I do, so we're all busy, but you know, it's pretty tough getting 4 people together at one time to do something. So I definitely appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come on, man.
Well, thank you for having us.
You got it, absolutely. Now, usually there's just, one person, maybe 2, but since there's 3 of you, could you guys just introduce yourselves and tell us what you do in the band, your name, and what you do?
Go ahead, Jerry. My name's Jerry. I play drums and percussion.
Right on.
My name is Tim. I play guitars and sing.
Tim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, not too much, Scotty. It's great to meet you. Thanks for having us on here, buddy.
Absolutely, man.
Foster, bass guitar, vocals.
Foster, what's going on, man? You're the guy I've been talking to. I talked to you last night. We had a good conversation. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a talker. I said before we do this that I wasn't going to get into a long ramble tangents because I'll start talking.
I did a podcast with Street Level Uprising with Jay. We played 5 of his tracks and talked about him. 2 hours. It was a really good one. But we can both talk. So that's what it's all about, man. It's a podcast. You got something to say? This is definitely the platform to say it on. So once again, thank you guys so much for coming on. Big shout out to Hefe, Gary Gitlin, for putting us together. Definitely appreciate Gary. Shout out, Gary. What's up? And
What's up, Gary?
Shout out, Gary.
yeah,
What's up, buddy?
we love Gary. Awesome, man. Well, awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much, man. We'll go ahead and get into the questions. Like I said, if I ask a question that all 3 of you feel like you want to answer, by all means, go for it. So let's go ahead and start from the roots, guys. Kind of take us back to how Kola Green formed in Port St. Lucie and what brought the 3 of you together musically and, also personally.
Well, gee, that's a really good question, Scotty. I don't even know where to begin, but if I had to begin at one place, I'd say, I was sitting around. I was living on the east side of Port St. Lucie at the time, kind of off of where Crosstown Parkway hits the 1.
All right.
And I wasn't doing a whole lot, Scotty. I was just kind of doing a lot of chilling. I was doing my Uber driving and then just going home and crashing. And I was like, oh, this is fucking ridiculous, man. I need to find some musicians to play with and hang out. So I got onto Craigslist, funny enough, and Foster was right there on Craigslist, like, hey, looking for musicians to play reggae with. Give me a shout. I've got a space to do a little studio at my house.
Nice.
So I ended up hitting up Foster. I think he replied to me that day.
Nice.
And we had a little phone conversation, and we kind of rounded out like a template of bands that we kind of wanted to keep in the foremost part of our consciousness while creating music.
Nice.
And a couple of those bands were definitely Sublime, Dirty Heads,
yes.
Slightly Stupid.
Good stuff.
Jimmy Cliff.
Jimmy Cliff.
Oh, there you go, without a doubt.
We also, we jammed on
Great Stone.
Yeah, Great Stone. What about Finally the Herbs Come Around?
Oh, Collie Buds.
Collie Buds.
We covered some Collie Buds, yeah.
Nice.
So in a nutshell, that was kind of how that iteration of the band began. But then we went through like a succession of drummers before we found Jerry here to my left, who's the man, and plays real good drums. But we were sort of just kind of, it was that classic scenario where you have like a bass player and a guitar player, and just finding that drummer, that third member creates that synthesis, and then you finally have a band, you know.
Yep. And did I hear you say Craigslist?
Yeah,
yeah. You're definitely telling our age right now. If anybody's like under 30, they're like, "What the fuck is Craigslist?"
Exactly. They have no idea. Yeah.
This was like 2022.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, how do you find musicians? I mean, that's what I thought. You know, it wasn't the only place that I was trying to like put it out there. Like, hey, why don't we start a group? Like, is there anybody who wants to start this kind of group and this kind of sound?
That's cool.
And so definitely had to hit Craigslist, and Tim hit me up like right away.
That's great.
So it worked out.
That's beautiful, man. That was meant to be, without a doubt.
Yeah, we started writing tunes, and for a while there was no drummer too. So
right.
we did like just an acoustic style, and just kind of cultivated like how we could work together and how our voices work together, and what kind of sounds we could make. And then Jerry came in and really was the first person that wanted to like take it seriously and put time in, and do what needed to be done.
That's great.
You know, up until then it was like a jam band,
right?
Like a 2-year jam band.
Yeah, it was a 2-year jam band before then, Scotty.
Nice.
You know, and there were some sick jams for sure, but like there was no way we're gonna get out of the garage or like do anything. You know,
yeah,
it was ambitionless. It was free. It was artistic. It was expressive, but. You know, I think when Jerry came in, the notebooks started coming in, and the real songwriting happened.
That's beautiful, man.
And it was like, all right, we can turn a new leaf. We can turn a new page of the notebook here and get some things done. You know, so that was an exciting time. You know,
that's cool, man. And the funny, I'm a drummer. Well, I'm a percussionist, but funny thing about finding drummers is you'll find a lot of them. You know, they're like, yeah, I'm a drummer. You have a kit? No.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
Yeah.
I've even been that guy. I've been.
Oh
that
yeah,
guy.
I think we all have at one point.
Yeah, about eight years ago, I joined a band on drums with two of my buddies. This was out in California. I lived out there.
Nice.
And I was like, you guys sound great. My two buddies were playing an open mic there, and I straight up was like, I'll be your drummer, you know. And they're like, do you have a kit? And I was like, nah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I can relate.
It happens, man. That's funny. No, I heard you mentioned 2 years. Like you guys, 2 years of woodshedding before. Was that before you released anything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So that's definitely kind of rare. What 2 years of preparation? What did that teach you about your sound and your bond together?
Oh, that's a really good question, Scotty.
Absolutely.
There were definitely lessons there for sure.
Absolutely.
That we're still unpacking. There's musical lessons there. It's still being
One
unpacked.
thing that we did was we like slowly cultivated like recording what we're rehearsing, even if we're jamming. Even
Yes,
if we
smart.
Turn, like some song into a 14-minute version of it that's not quite the same, and we're twisting it.
Yep.
And so we got the studio set up. We kept tweaking the knobs, tweaking everything that we could, and trying to get the best mixes that we could, so that we could go through and harvest different things to where it was like we were right in the pocket right there. Like, see right here, this section right here, and we would go through and try and tag them and clip them up. And those became like the first 4 songs. Really, like what we call the vape tapes is like the first 4 songs that we released. We call the vape tapes because that was all from that generation. So even when they came out, they were like old to us, you know. Like,
yeah, right.
We had to rip. But what it took was dedication to like, okay, you know what is the verse going to be like? What, you know, because we had so many renditions.
Yep.
Overrun with renditions, you know, version 3.9.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And let me say, that's really smart to, like you said, record your practices too, because you can use those for like YouTube shorts. Like, you know, you can make like Kola Green behind the scenes, you know, videos, all that fun stuff too. But like you said, you know, you nail something and you're like, damn it, man, we didn't have that recorded, you know, and you feel like you can never do it again. Well, that's smart. So if people are listening, do that.
At first it got a little weird because you know how things would be really cool and chill, and then somebody will pull a camera out and then the mood is like,
oh yeah,
it's not chill anymore.
Yeah, I got you.
So it was it was that vibe at first.
Sure.
And we were doing like just a live jam, right? So
yeah.
we're using PA, everything like that. And then we kind of moved that towards like, all right, what if we use the headphones while we rehearse? Like, let's turn the amps off, let's go DI, let's play the acoustic drums and like let's get the actual vibe, and that changed everything, the way we could hear it. And so now we like half and half, like do the amps, because that makes you hear it a different way. Like,
Sure.
It changed the way that we heard it, and I didn't like what I heard. Like I was cringing a lot. Honestly.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, some of those takes aren't meant to see the light of day. You know,
Yeah.
as we were getting it together.
Yep.
That's why you don't see any of the behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yet. We haven't found a good way to harvest it, I guess.
It takes time to flush out a good idea.
Of
Yeah.
course, man. Absolutely. If it didn't, everybody would have good ideas. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh, yeah.
that's why. Yeah, it takes a minute, man. It definitely takes that work and that dedication, without a doubt, man.
100%. And back to your question, Scotty, about like lessons learned throughout that time.
Yes.
One of them kind of came to me, and I think that lesson was like lessons in the discipline to finish ideas. You know what I
Amen.
mean? Artistically, it's very easy to start a whole bunch of songs and be like, "Oh, this is cool," and
Sure.
you're kind of in the moment on it, but you don't really see it through to its natural genesis,
that
to its
final touch.
creation.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was guilty of that, as I think many musicians are. You know,
Yep.
they'll have a million ideas, but like to really finish something, and get what I like to call a definitive version of it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was something that was eluding me, because the gratification of playing was enough for me.
Yeah.
That
I hear you.
just jamming felt good enough, and
Yep.
I think there came a time where it was like, all right, well, do we want to be just like Thursday night music club that jams, or do we want to have something to show for all this time and love we're putting into
Amen.
it, you know? And so yeah, that I think that's the overarching lesson that I took away from that time of just 2 years of jamming, you know?
That's beautiful, man. That's awesome. And I like that. You know, you wanted to go to the next level, and you did. Yeah, I'm ADD severely, man. So I'm with you on the starting a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? I've got, oh my God, I
Bunch
got
of
10 things
projects.
going on right now, dude.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, you gotta, yep, nail it down. And
Yeah.
100%. Focused.
And make it work for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like ADD is not even necessarily a handicap.
No,
if you
you're
can
right.
Make it work for you.
Yes.
Like it sounds like you are. So like.
Well, I
that's
have my
cool to
beautiful
hear.
wife who kind of reels me in. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes,
That's
Heck yeah.
important too.
Oh, it really
Yeah.
helps, bro.
Yeah,
That's
for
awesome,
sure.
man. So, when I talked to you on the phone last night, I was going to ask you, but I was like, nah, I'm saving it for the show, so I don't even know the answer to this one. But the name Kola Green, spelled with a K, where did that come from? And what does it represent? It's got to mean something.
What do you guys think?
That's a good question, man.
It may not.
I always looked at Kola Green as like the 3-part meaning. You know what I mean? Apparently, there's a fish called the Kola Green. It's a species of fish.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and these guys are really avid fishermen.
Beautiful.
You know?
I love fishing.
I fished a couple times. It's a beautiful thing. I want to learn more about. But these guys are like really into it,
That's great.
and as they should be.
Yeah,
So
especially
they
where you
informed me
live.
that Kola Green is a fish. I think Kola Green, like, you know, cola obviously like the budding flower of the female plant. You know,
Yes.
so cola.
Yep, 100%. Beautiful.
So I think that was that. But then one of you guys was telling me there's some ancient pyramids in Russia that predate the
and the
Egyptian pyramids,
The Kola Peninsula.
and it's on the
Yeah.
Kola
Oh,
Peninsula.
killer, man.
Yeah.
So I think there was like a kind of overarching thing.
It's
We're
like a
throwing around
multi-level.
names.
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. You could have stuck with
Definitely.
fish, and I would have been like, "That's dope." Yeah, and especially where you guys live, Port St. Lucie. That's some prime fishing, man. Right on.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you guys' message is all about enjoying life, thinking positive, and sharing music. So, how do you keep that energy grounded? You know, when like your regular life just kind of chucks a curveball at you, you know, and gives you the big middle finger, because you know, listening to your music, it's got that energy. Every single track I listen to, and you guys have been pumping them out, especially your new one that we're gonna play here in a minute. You know, but life happens. How do you cut life off and walk into the studio and like we're putting that positivity, even though I don't feel like it today?
Well, sometimes I would say sometimes if you don't feel like it, then don't force it, but just don't force it. Like if you let things like that eat you up, then you're not actually in control.
Amen.
So if you just make the decision to go and do what what you're meant to do and what you want to do, it's gonna make you feel better. You know, it's like even fake it till you make it, but like in a good way. Like act positive, and you'll be feeling positive before you know it.
I agree 100%. Intention, you know, my wife talks about it all the time. You know, what your intention is, what you put out, you know, you pretty much create your own personal, you know, universe. So, absolutely, man. I totally agree with that, brother.
It can definitely be difficult, but I definitely find that to come in and play with these guys is a reprieve.
Amen.
So, yeah, at times it can be hard to, you know, set the real world at the door and leave it there.
We were just talking about this before we came on. We were
Nice.
But I think, you know, three guys that are like-minded, sometimes we can distract one another with an interesting conversation.
Yes. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, 100%. And I would also say, you know, I think your question, Scotty, really speaks to the
egalitarian.
nature of Kola Green. Yeah, definitely. But also speaks to me in a deep way about I think sacrifices in life in general. You know what I mean? Like anything you do in life, you're gonna sacrifice something else. You know what I mean? So the time we spent getting together, you know, a few times a week, you know, playing music and putting considerable energy into it, you know, that is time that could be spent elsewhere. You know?
Sure.
And you know, when you talk about society and jobs kind of encroaching on that creative space, you know, yeah, that is kind of the yin and yang of life, right?
It is.
And finding that balance.
Amen.
And I've definitely felt imbalance with it before. There are times where I felt like, you know, the old expression, like too much of a good thing is like, I guess, bad, not
Sure.
good, you know? And, you know, music is very much like drugs and alcohol and sex because it stimulates those same pleasure centers, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you can basically binge out on music, listening or creation of music, and at some point something might get a little out of balance. You know,
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's like on a subtle level, like too much dopamine from just like, you know, getting into the music so hard, or maybe almost getting yourself in like a trance-like state.
Right.
And when you come out of it, it's almost like a hangover. Like you kind
Right.
of feel like shit because you were riding high in the clouds, almost like a drug withdrawal.
Yep,
You know?
yep.
So I think that's a definite part. I think that roller coaster is a part of any kind of creativity that anyone engages in.
Certainly.
And so I think with music, I think musicians themselves can burn themselves out on that, and that's why I think so many musicians do turn to drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
You know, they kind of go hand in hand, addiction.
Yes. Absolutely. Sure does.
So yeah, I'd say, you know, yeah, to answer your question totally, I'd say probably just meditation, recreation, and keeping a good perspective on things. You know, so you're not binging out in any one place in an unhealthy way. You know what I mean?
Amen. I like that. Yeah, you're right. Too much of a good thing is, yeah, because then, like you said, then you don't get the balance and you really don't appreciate it. You know, I think the worse things get, unfortunately, the more you'll appreciate, you know, the good things, like being in a, you know, awesome band and having time to jam with your buddies, you know, that kind of stuff, man.
100%, brother. You know, and I was speaking about this with somebody not too long ago, and I said, like, almost out of a love and reverence for music, because we all love music,
Sure.
all four of us here, you know, and all your listeners, you know, all people who love music and reggae music in particular, you know, and it's almost like out of a reverence to the music, you wouldn't abuse it like a drug, you know what
Sure,
I mean?
yes.
Like, yeah,
Treat it with respect, absolutely.
100%, brother.
Amen. I like that, man. Now, if you mix all three, what you said, you know, the music, the drugs, and the sex all at once, then the hangover is really crazy, bro. But,
Yeah.
yeah, depression for a couple of days, you know, like when you come home from vacation. But
Yeah.
right on, man. So I know you guys. I love your style. I like how you're like instead of, you know, trying to play at every little dive bar we can, you know, we're focusing on, you know, being in the studio and putting releases out. And you have an EP. You only have one EP, correct?
Right.
Self Control.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's what
what's
it's
the story behind that title, and what kind of themes were you digging into across that project?
Man,
That's a great
I'll
name
tell
because
you.
I could definitely use
It
some of
wasn't
that.
supposed to be called self-control like this, so I uploaded it and I kind of messed it up a little bit. I didn't realize what I had done exactly, and we just let it ride.
Nice.
But the EP was supposed to be called the Vape Tapes.
Okay.
Self-Control is the fourth song. Like we released a couple singles, and then we were gonna release this fourth track EP
Right.
called The Vape Tapes, and Self-Control was like the last song that was unreleased. So I went to upload it, and I thought it was gonna come out as another single, but it came out as Self-Control the EP. So we just let it ride. Like, yeah, it's Self-Control the EP. That's really kind of like the genesis of when we started turning jams into written material.
Nice.
Is that song. Like I'd say that's probably the first song to where a set started to form. Like, hey, do you want to play that Self-Control song? And we really kind of built from there.
Nice. Well, it was a good mistake because that's a powerful name, you know. I think it hits home for a lot of people. Me, I
And it
could
was
definitely
the
use
last
self-control.
Yeah, I think that Tim's lyrics in that song are really great at really finding yourself and centering yourself, you know.
Beautiful, man. That's so awesome, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think we all
That's what-
got to
that's what it means
practice
to
a
me.
little restraint here and there.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and it's actually a funny coincidence that was like the first of our songs that came together, because it actually took concerted self-control from the three of us to actually finish a song,
Yeah.
you know, in its totality, kind of like what I was speaking of earlier. And yeah, I'll never forget it. You know, Foster sent me an instrumental, so the chords were kind of already set, the riff was already in there set.
That's right.
The two parts, the verse and the chorus, were set. So I remember just like writing some things over at the spot I was living at the time, and we brought it in the studio. It came together pretty quickly, and that was our foray away from 20-minute jams
Nice, right?
into like a song. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool,
Heck
man. You guys, do you ever? I mean, this is kind of just off topic. You keep talking about the jams. Did you ever consider maybe, you know, at the end of an EP or end of an album, letting one song ride for 12 minutes and putting it out? You know, like
Yeah,
Fish
we
or The
could.
Dead or something. You know.
You know, I think so. I think, you know, we haven't talked about doing that exactly or for that long, for like
Sure.
a 12-minute thing.
Mhm.
But I think our new single that we have coming out tonight at midnight.
Yep, Wildfire.
Is a song called Wildfire.
Yes.
Is coming out tonight, and Wildfire actually has an extended instrumental outro, I guess you could say.
Yep.
So I think for a while we were we weren't anti-jam, but we were very proactive on finishing songs.
Got you.
No jamming.
So yeah, if we started
Make it
jam
a-
too much,
make it
we'd
a
be
song,
wary. We'd be
yeah.
like, oh, that went a little long,
Yeah.
guys. Like, let's rein it in. Let's reel it in a little.
Yeah.
But then now I think because we have that discipline of having reeled it in.
Yeah.
Now we're in an exciting place, Scotty, where we can stretch things out a little more again.
Absolutely. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I think go back to a little more flexibility, but
Right.
we wanted to make sure we had that discipline down first, and like you said, to get everything structured,
Yep.
just to know you can.
Yes, sir.
Is that the backup singers in the background?
Yeah, can you hear that?
Yeah.
My dogs are going off right now. The hounds.
The Hounds of
The
Akarat.
Yeah, the Akarat hounds here.
That's
They're going to
awesome,
end
man.
up on a track one of these days.
Right on. Yeah, I have a
probably
little
are.
dog, Irie. She goes absolutely nuts, dude. A car door slams, freaking front door slams. It's ridiculous. So, but
Yeah, something got the boys fired
That's awesome
up.
that your dog is named Irie.
Yeah,
bro. I
yeah,
like that.
yep.
That's dope.
yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, you know, my entire life is reggae music. My wife is too, and so you know, I mean, but everybody has a dog named Marley or something. I was like, no, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Bob Marley, but you know, it's just there's a lot of you know. Sorry, it's been used a million times. So I was like, boom, Irie. And my wife was like, oh my God, that's great. And it also happens to be one of my friends, his daughter's name is Irie. He's obviously a, you know, reggae fan as well, but
That's awesome.
Yeah, nice.
yeah, it's definitely really cool, man. It definitely fits her. She's extremely Irie all the time. She is chill, man. And what a great segue. We were just talking about Wildfire, June 20th, which is in about 3.5 hours when it drops. So we're gonna go ahead and play that right now for everybody. And then after
This is cool.
after we drop this jam, we're gonna talk about it a little bit. But I'm definitely excited for the listeners to be able to hear this track. It's absolutely fantastic. I listened to it. I just got it. Listened to it twice through. Absolutely loved it. This is Wildfire dropping tonight. Kola Green.
screaming and burning, engulfed in flames. Wildfire. Burning the hills, smoke in the sky, fire in the fields. Wildfire. Neighborhood is ablaze as the fiery inferno invades and lays waste. Wildfire. Smoldering piles are in a wake, devastation all over the place. Burn my heart down, turn my whole world around. Dying, crackling sound, she burned my heart to the ground. Burn my heart down, turn my whole world around. Dying, crackling sound, she burned my heart to the ground. Wildfire. Wildfire. Animals running in fear, ecosystems melting down, sirens wailing in your ear. Wildfire. Mother Nature's wrath, nothing but destruction in her path. Wildfire. Helicopters drop the water, yet the flames take the toll. Fire raging out of control. Wildfire. I pray that I get away and escape the flames of her deadly blaze. Burn my heart down, turn my whole world around. Dying, crackling sound, she burned my heart to the ground. Burn my heart down, turn my whole world around. Dying, crackling sound, she burned my heart to the ground.
Wildfire, Kola Green, dropping tonight, which is June 20th, 2025 at midnight. So definitely hop on over to your favorite streaming platform, get that one uploaded with their entire catalog. Really, really, really good stuff. So, Wildfire, that was awesome. Excellent musicianship throughout the whole song. I kind of like that. Wow, reminds me of like, kind of had like that 70s feel, you know, like when the police were chasing somebody and the guitar was like that. Wow, it was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely
100%.
a 100% reggae vibe, which was dope. The bass is absolutely phenomenal in that track, man. That is a ripping fucking bass line, bro. That's so important in reggae music. You know, that bass
Oh, yeah.
definitely carries.
All
So-
that really hard.
yeah, and that drum, the
100%.
drum beat was perfect. It was, you know, you could have gone, you know, just basic 4/4, but that was really, really good stuff, man. This is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, your host of Hippie FarI, Reggae Radio, and Podcasts. We have a little event coming up to tell you about. It's hosted by our nonprofit, Sacred I. You can visit sacredi.org, and that is the letter I. The event is called Awaken on the River. It's a sacred weekend of sound, ceremony, and soul on the Ocklawaha River in Wearsdale, Florida. Hosted by Sacred I, Awaken on the River is a weekend of unity, celebration, and soul. With live reggae music, drum circles, live art, healing spaces, yoga, meditation, vendors, river adventures, and even a tie-dye station. This immersive riverside retreat offers something for everybody. All proceeds go to benefit our initiative for holistic autism research called the Natural Spectrum Project. And it also goes to benefit our initiative called Reggae for a Reason, which funds out-of-work reggae musicians because of a sickness or hospitalization. And if anything else happens, we're there to support their families. And the bands that are going to be playing, pretty cool lineup. We got Part 1 Tribe, Floridays, Savi Fernandez Band, Kola Green, Indigo Eye, DJ Cisco, Street Level Uprising, Smyrna Herb, Michael McGinnis Jr. Music, Propaganda, and Tyler G of Vibes Farm. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic event. Go to awakenontheriver.com and check out our Facebook page, event page, Awaken on the River. And don't forget to head over to YouTube. If you're already on there, click pause. Please subscribe to Hippie FarI Reggae Radio and Podcast YouTube channel. Head over, hit that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot. Awaken on the River, October 18th and 19th, 2025. Hope to see everybody there. Much love, folks. Fantastic track. I love that, man. Good job, guys.
Yeah, we were trying
Thank
to
you.
mix it up
Thanks,
a little
bro.
bit from, something we typically do.
Yeah.
Kind of expand a little bit.
Yeah. You did great. I like it a lot, man. It's really cool.
It's a lot of fun to play around with that kind of slightly more up tempo kind of dance hall beat.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think when I tuned into your podcast with Propaganda.
Yeah.
And he was talking about employing some slightly more upbeat tempos that he noticed we're getting the people dancing.
100%.
Some of that dance hall stuff.
Yes.
So, it's funny how those ideas are out there in the ether.
Yes.
And, in a utilitarian way, it's almost like a musician will be like, "Oh, let's get the people dancing a little bit,"
Yes.
and that dance hall beat is just such a nice groove to complement.
Yep.
Any like laid back, I love the laid back one drop stuff too.
So do I.
And just a steady diet of both
Yes.
is very nourishing to the soul.
Amen. Yeah, and once you get the people dancing, they're gonna want to come back and see you, man. That's just it, bro. You get them moving. Especially, for me, I grew up with like Gary, the electronic dance music. Once the girls get on the dance floor, start dancing, then their boyfriends are happy because the girlfriends are happy, and then it's just that's it. You know what I mean? So get the people,
100%, brother.
get the
Yep,
people
I couldn't have
moving.
said it better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, when you get
I
the girls dancing, then the guys start dancing.
Yes.
When the girls dance, everyone dances.
Yeah, that's
basically,
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you throw in some really awesome lyrics, some positive lyrics like you guys have, and you got an amazing, it's just well-rounded, man. It's good stuff.
Amen.
Absolutely, man. So, give us kind of the inside scoop on that. What are those lyrics all about, man?
That's a good question.
Wildfire? Yeah, is it like symbolic of something? I mean, it seemed like it.
At the time that we were writing that,
Yeah.
Scotty, I think those wildfires were really blazing out in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And I think that was just on the news everywhere. So I think I had started writing about it, and I was just kind of like writing these verses about wildfire, but almost the literal fire. And then Jerry was like, we should make it about a girl. It should be like a woman.
Yes, amen.
And I was like, all right, that's a good metaphor for like a girl
Yes.
broke this guy's heart, like she burned him down.
Yep.
So then we kind of came around and we collectively wrote this chorus, and the chorus is about a woman, like she burned my heart down.
Yeah.
And so if you listen to the verses, it's very literal about like what fire actually does. It tears up the terrain, like what a wildfire would do.
Yeah.
It'd sweep through and basically incinerate everything.
Right.
And so the verse is describing that.
Yep.
But then the chorus was making it about a woman and kind of bringing it to this thing about heartache, and a good metaphor for that.
Yeah.
Or heartbreak, I should say.
And I think we've all been there.
Heck yeah.
So it
yeah.
is like a
So that's
fucking fire.
basically- Yeah. And that's the kind of the story behind that. And we'd had no kind of love song of any kind before that. A lot of our songs before that had been kind of about chilling and kicking back
Yeah.
and smoking
Yep.
and hanging with the homies.
Yep.
Just kind of autobiographical of like kind of what our crew was about.
Or, yep.
But I think now it's time to branch out and sing about relationships and emotions, and sing about representing with the crew also. You know what I mean?
Amen.
You can have both. You can have both.
Certainly, man. Yeah, all the great bands do it. Tribal Seeds, I love them. They're really conscious, but they've got Dark Angel is my wife's favorite collective song by Tribal Seeds. Yeah, beautiful song about a girl. So yeah, I mean it's because that's real life. That's what we all go through relationships. We're either in one, gone through one. Everybody's experienced it. So I think people can relate to that big time, as well as the hanging out and chilling with the crew. 100%, man.
The first 5 songs that we released had already been sort of either jammed on or written in one form or another for like a year and a half.
Right.
So, Salt Life, we wrote like maybe the end of last year, the end of 2024. We were kind of finalizing that.
Okay.
And then like it just came out. So Wildfire is really like the first one where we made an active attempt to like be more dynamic.
Yes.
And add in some of these things, you know, because there was such a lag of like what we're like putting out and releasing versus what we're currently doing.
Right.
You know, so we're always trying to get more dynamic and find different ways to get the message out of how we feel, and you know, in all the music.
Amen. That's a beautiful thing. And being on a podcast really helps get the message out too, you know, 100%.
Than't you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
I'm
Thanks for the
grateful.
opportunity, Scotty.
Yeah, that's why I do
Respect,
this,
brother.
man, to be quite honest with you. It's, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Might sound a little selfish, but I mean, maybe like a musician, I do it for myself because I love reggae music so much that I want to be able to, you know, spend half my life talking to reggae bands. What a great way to do it, man.
Oh, for sure.
But
For sure.
yeah, but you know, being able to have you guys on is absolutely incredible, and you know, like I said, it's a great platform to you know, to get that message out and for people to be able to, you know, put a face with a name and relate to you guys a little bit more, man. Kind of making it personal, but you guys, like, so you've been busy, man. There's a lot of bands that, you know, been around for 2 years. They don't have any releases. You guys have, I believe, 6 singles, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have a full-length album on the way.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You know, we sort of have been more like singles minded.
Yes.
But as we kind of, you know, cycle through and scope through our like, you know, kind of scope out our release schedule.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be room for an album there, probably a 6 to 8 song album.
Great.
On the way.
Are you going to drop those like single boom, 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 or are you just going to drop the whole thing at once?
We'll probably continue to drop singles.
Good idea.
For at least the time being, because our goal had been to drop a new single every 3 weeks. You know,
That's
And
good.
which is ambitious. We got a little bit behind because with our mixing, we got a little behind schedule.
Yeah.
Probably about maybe a month ago or so, and
Yep.
that kind of messed with the time frame a little. But now we're back on top of it, and so yeah, sky's the limit. You know, really just trying to be diligent, get a new release out every 3 weeks, and just get this music to our listeners.
That's
you know,
extremely
expand the fan
smart.
base.
You know, if you know anything about like the algorithm on, you know, Spotify or anything like that, the more you put out, obviously, you know, the more people see you, but also the people that work at Spotify and work at these streaming agencies, they constantly are seeing your name. So eventually one day they're going to be like, all right, man, I see this name all the time. I got to hear what it's all about. You know, they like it, and then boom, all of a sudden you're, you know, your track's on the, you know, featured tracks of the week, featured releases of the week, you know?
Absolutely, Scotty. Yep. There's almost
sure.
like how would you call it? Like a there's almost like the internet. There's almost like a saturation point.
Yes.
Like you were talking about.
Yes.
Whereby like your name gets out there enough.
Yep.
There's enough links. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
It's amazing to me. Like I've never been on a podcast before.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like even this is blowing my mind right now to realize how many people you can reach. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm huge, and it's amazing. I get my analytics, and my podcast has been downloaded in over 70 countries, bro.
Whoa,
I'm huge in Papua New
Nice.
Guinea, huge in Guyana, huge in Indonesia. Indonesia and the United States are about, it's about the same amount of like downloads and listeners, but over in Africa, it's really big. It all over. I was amazed, and I was like, you know, to be able to do this and, you know, be reaching 70 countries, that just, first of all, that's amazing. Second of all, that goes to show you, reggae is fucking huge, worldwide, you know what I'm saying? People love it, man. They really do. And,
For sure.
you know, it's a good thing, and that's why I like to get, you know, the bands on here, because it's, you know, you put out a track, you know, people, you might not have been able to promote to 70 different countries, but with a podcast, you know, there's 10,000 reggae bands. There's only about 300 reggae podcasts, and not all of them are releasing. So when people are looking up reggae, you know, they're finding you pretty quick for the podcast, you know, and it's just, that's what I love about it, you know. It's kind of like fast track distribution. It's like boom, 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 you know. People, you know, it's a good way to get your name out there, and then to be actively releasing that much music on top of it is. It's pretty awesome, man. That's absolutely incredible, guys. Good job, man. Really awesome.
Amen, brother. Thank you.
Well, hell yeah. Definitely looking forward to that the tracks on that album. That's cool. Pretty much everything you're putting out, we're definitely looking forward to over here. So, are there on the album? Are there going to be like any earlier singles reappearing, like different versions of it, or is it going to all brand new?
No, it's funny that you said that because we actually have like a pipeline, and we had all these collections of songs, and now they're kind of like lumps of clay, we called them. So yeah, there's definitely chances that some of these songs are going to come out.
Nice.
Just because we wrote them, and back like the question you asked before about like what lessons you learned, like going through a couple years of really just fastening this down.
Yep.
It's all positive, but one thing that you learn is that if you don't start actually releasing your music, you never learn the lessons that you learn in that finalization process.
That's right.
So if you stack them up, song 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they all end up at the same level. You're at level A of singer-songwriter or whatever your goal, whatever you want to be. You're still at the bottom level.
Right.
You just did it with 5 songs. If you do it with 1, okay, you step up a little bit for 2.
Yeah, amen.
Every time, but you have to get to that finalization, and that was the hardest thing because we were doing everything in-house. We were trying to do everything in-house. And when you get control of the faders and the knobs and you start trying to go through plugins and mic placements and all the things that you try to do when you want to represent it in the best way.
Yes.
It's like you almost could never finish it because you keep tweaking it.
Yeah,
so,
especially if it's yours. There's overproduction, like, you know what I mean, like crazy.
Yeah,
especially,
we overworked and over-labored, and that's where some of those unreleased songs are. They're in an over-labored place,
right?
Where there's something about it that was the original pure thought and idea of like us on the patio, acoustic guitar, just freestyling and chilling, and like there was something there, but then we loved it to death.
Yes, I like it.
And
by over-laboring it, just like some of the energy was crushed.
Right. Sure. Oh yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Amen.
So they're kind of in the archives, like they're there, and sometimes we'll still jam on them.
Yeah,
we'll
great.
call on it, and it might be like, maybe this might be the time where we get that little spark that makes the turnaround work and not sound like something we don't like.
So you guys gonna be pushing any new territory when it comes to your message? You gonna stick with that green groove, chilling with the crew, or are you gonna be is there?
We wrote like a fight song. Like we wrote like a resistance song.
Beautiful.
And it's called "The Time Has Come."
Nice.
And right now it's in a position where really, I was thinking like maybe this would be a perfect song to gather like a feature from another artist.
Yeah.
Because it needs like a missing link in the song.
Sure.
Like, we have like all these cool ideas. We have different versions that we've recorded of it already, like to where we've got it to like demo quality. Like this is a done song, and we're like, man, something's not jiving about it. So maybe something like that. We could shop different ideas around, but it's not all hanging out and being positive. Like there's a lot of things to still talk about and get messages out about things that aren't positive. So it's a little bit of both, the yin and the yang.
Yeah, that's why I do my radio show. It's pretty, I have it set up like it's, revolutionary style. I don't call them episodes, I call them transmissions, and it's about, the revolutionary reggae roots. I throw, other things in there too, but it's, I try to get that conscious message out, because unfortunately, people might not want to hear about it. If they don't want to, they can turn it off. But I think it's important to, eventually touch on things like that as well. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Everything that's going on, these are trying times, regardless of what you believe, what side you're on. It's just pretty stressful right now. So it's nice to know that you can relate to a musician you're listening to, where they're like, kind of singing what you're putting down too. It's nice, man.
100%, Scotty, and to speak to your question, I would say we'll probably continue along the thematic realms that we've been treading, because those are like very true to us,
Amen.
Because those themes have basically been just kind of relaying our experience, and stuff like that. However, like you said, the world is in a crazy state right now with wars and information wars.
Yes.
And the information war is the most stunning part of it.
Severely.
Tying things back into the internet, we've got the echo chambers, and it's unprecedented kind of territory we're all treading with this new technology with the World Wide Web.
Yes.
And I think it's certainly obviously conflict has always existed in the human form throughout human history, obviously.
Amen.
And war has always been there, but we're in an accelerated state of like the threat of cyber warfare and the very existence around us every day of kind of information warfare, propaganda warfare.
Yes.
And I think all music, not just reggae music, really cuts through a lot of that, because when people truly vibe with music, I have to believe it builds the brain a little bit to be a little more of a critical thinker.
Oh, certainly does, man.
You know what I mean? I think those two are intertwined. So
Yes.
I feel like musicians and creative people are always aware of these societal trends, because
Yes.
that's the raw material of experience
Yes.
to create any kind of art, so. But then again, it's kind of what you alluded to earlier, like with great power comes great responsibility. If we can reach 10, 20,000, 100,000 million people on the web, if I can reach that audience, that number of audience, myself or collectively with Kola Green, I don't want to look like a dumbass. I want to have something good to say, or add to the conversation at least. I don't.
Yeah, it's got to be done right.
It does. Yep.
I think it was good to start off by putting a little positivity out.
Yes, hell yeah.
To begin with, for sure. And I'm sure we'll get into some other subjects,
Sure.
but I think it was important to start off by just trying to put a little good out there first.
Certainly, 100%, man. And I love that. You're setting the
Yeah, you're right.
the vibe. You know what I'm saying? 100%. People know what to expect. That's a good thing. But it's, and like you're saying, you wanna do it right, and that's awesome. You're not just gonna be up there running your mouths. You actually believe in what you're saying, and you're not just
Yeah.
You're not running your mouth or
to
just
overcome
picking a
adversity.
topic that you think is popular and singing about it when it doesn't really resonate with you. So I like that. You know what I mean? You want it to
100%.
definitely be personal if you're gonna sing about it.
We played some cover songs that we learned these songs, like kind of learned them. We didn't learn them really as good as we should have.
Right.
We kind of spun them off, which was fun, but we were having fun. And a few of them we were like, this song, it just doesn't hit with me personally. Like I can't connect with the lyrics
Right.
as I'm singing it. Like this doesn't feel right.
Yep.
This particular song, and I don't remember any specific ones, but there were just certain ones to where just the vibe didn't fit with what we were doing.
Yep.
And the sound that was coming out of the guitar.
And there were songs we liked too, like we admired the
Yeah.
artist, like we were like, oh cool, we should learn that. And then we would kind of learn it.
You feel
and,
weird
you're right,
singing
there
it,
were-
right?
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 of them that like they never quite felt right.
Yeah.
And I think then we learned a couple other covers that did feel right, that
Nice.
spoke to the soul.
There you go.
And then it was like, oh, I want to be singing that.
Yeah.
There was a disconnect there.
Yep.
For me personally, there was a disconnect there for a minute where I was singing things that I wasn't actually like 100%.
Yeah,
behind.
and then it's not
I
going to
was like,
come
why-
out right. I don't, you know what I mean? If you're not personally
Exactly.
behind it, because music is your art. That's like an artist painting something he doesn't really like. He's like, yeah, I'm doing watercolors. I don't really like them. It's not going to be as good as if he was using, oils or whatever that he loved. Then you're into it because you're doing what you love.
Precisely.
When we were auditioning a lot of drummers and jamming with different drummers, it's hard to be like, hey, let's meet here at this rehearsal place and let's jam or whatever we're gonna do here.
Yep.
All right, what are we gonna play?
Right.
So we're like, all right, let's get like some close facsimiles of some popular songs that are easy to access, so you can say like, hey, learn this song, learn that song.
Yeah.
So, and then every drummer you play with kind of puts a different spin on it. If he's more of a blues guy, you get that thing.
Yep.
Or if he's more of like a one-drop guy, you're gonna get that.
Sure.
We'd be playing the same songs, but they sound totally different.
Yes, I love that.
Because now, so we started learning the songs like that, so they didn't really get solidified until we started jamming with Jerry. But yeah, we started writing our own songs when we started thinking about like, why are we learning other people's songs? We love other people's songs, but they're already there. Let them play it.
Amen.
Like I like to pay respect and homage to a lot of the songs.
Yes.
But they're
For sure.
already there doing that. So we decided we're going to really focus more on writing and recording our own songs.
Doing your own thing, man. That's beautiful. And
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say something kind of funny. When we were talking about the band vibe earlier, and how you come in and kind of leave all the bullshit at the door, and you guys have fun, and you do. I was a bass player in a band in high school. My friend Dwayne, we're in the middle of practice, and I'd said something, and everybody started laughing. He goes, you know, that's why I brought you on. He's like, you're really not that good at bass guitar, but you're pretty fucking funny. And I was like, well, thanks. I was like, well, he's like, you know, it's the comic relief when we're all pissed off. You say something and it makes us all laugh, and that helps. I was like, well, you know, at least if I can contribute somehow, you know, that's good.
Yeah,
yeah, that's
100%.
That's awesome. So I definitely love what you guys are laying down so far. You know, you wanted to be personal because it is your art. You went through it till you found all the right people. Now you're making it work, and you're constantly putting out music because that's what you do, man. That's how you get heard. That's awesome. So speaking of that, man, what's each of your roles like creatively? Is it kind of free flowing, or does everybody bring like a specific thing to the table? Like obviously the drummer will do that, but I mean, do you guys, you know, does the drummer say, hey, maybe this might sound a little bit better on the bass, or is it just like drums, bass, guitar, vocals, and that's it?
I would definitely say it's free flowing.
Nice.
I think as part of what we do, we kind of leave the ego at the door too.
You got to.
So nobody's insulted if someone else brings up an idea,
right,
or hey, maybe we could try this.
Yep.
So I think that helps out a great deal because you have three musicians that all have good ideas,
yes,
and just because I don't play guitar doesn't mean I can't have a good idea. And,
that's right.
you know, sometimes Foster has a really good idea with like a drum breakdown, or
yep,
hey, maybe we could try this. And
yep,
sometimes ideas work, sometimes they don't. But I mean, if you don't try it out, then
right.
I mean, you're wasting time there.
Yeah, you could be dropping the ball on something revolutionary if you don't try a good idea out, you know? Absolutely.
For sure. And I think sometimes in songwriting, you kind of have an idea of what you want the melody and the rhythm to sound like,
yep,
when you're writing lyrics.
Yeah, sure.
So,
is that how you guys start? Are most of your songs lyrics first and then music, or?
It's all of the above.
Cool.
Yeah, sometimes you just get a riff that for whatever reason speaks to you,
oh,
or
yeah,
a certain phrase.
Yep.
For some reason comes out, and then you kind of work around that.
Yep, that's awesome.
Some of them, like the sound, I think Tim showed up at practice and he was like, boom, I got these lyrics.
Love it.
Check this out. And I got a little phone demo that I recorded on my phone. And so then we get into the studio and we just start working on it because, like you said, like the ego thing, you know, if I have an idea, that's all it is an idea. As soon
yes,
as somebody else hears it and then they repeat it back to me, now it's our idea.
Amen.
It's the interpretation and the act of them witnessing it and spitting it back to me, it's automatically changed. So it's when you write songs with people and record with people, being open to trying the ideas and going through it is where the treats are and
yes,
the little gems.
And I like that a lot that you guys
collaboration.
talked about leaving the ego at the door. You know, I'm a pretty spiritual person, man, and one of the things I focus on is that, you know, like shedding the ego. And what I found out was it's not learning how to do it, it's unlearning everything I've been taught so I can leave my ego at the door, you know, because a lot of people, they've been taught to, you know, kind of just maybe not speak up, or, you know, do this because it might offend somebody, or this, you know. It's like you have to kind of unlearn everything you've been taught and get back to, you know, that basic just communication. You know, it's, if I feel like this is going to work, I'm going to let him know. He's my buddy. He's not going to take offense to it, you know, and it might end up working way better, you know. So that's awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely, man. And when I hear you say that, and well put too, Scott, very well phrased, buddy. And I couldn't agree more. And I would say that I'd say it boils back to trust for me. Like, that's what I'm reminded of when I hear you speak like that.
Yeah.
And I feel grateful that I have the trust in Jerry and Foster's music tastes. Like, I genuinely like and respect their taste in music. So if Foster says, "Oh, what happens if the guitar does this at that point?" Or what if we change that and do this? Like, I know it's coming from a place of strengthening it.
Amen.
And so I try on a personal level to detach myself from whatever idea I have.
Boom.
Like, detach the ego of it.
I love
so
that.
It's not like, oh, well, my idea is better. Like, we have to do my idea. Like, I'm trying to be the opposite of that, you know?
I love detachment.
And it's like
man.
you said, once the idea gets voiced, it kind of belongs to everybody working on it at that point.
That's right. The collective.
That's kind of how we workshop things, you know, around here. That's how we get our best results too when the workshop process is happening, you know, because it's three minds on it, you know, solving the puzzle of how to make it as good as it can be.
Is that what your rehearsals are like too? Pretty structured, or well, no, actually, I take that back. I mean, if anybody's been listening to this podcast, you guys said you jam a lot. Have you?
No, the pendulum has swung the other way.
You took that
We're
away,
like
exactly. Yeah, you kind of structured it.
Now
Yeah.
Now it's hard.
We might give ourselves like 15 minutes of jam time. Like
See, we schedule the free time.
Every third practice, you know,
Yeah,
we'll have that
exactly.
little free
Every
time.
practice,
And we'll jam it out through the
day.
amps.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, that was awesome. And we'll usually have some cool little ideas
Yep.
to make something new out of.
Yep.
But yeah, we kind of police it now because we were in need of policing. You know,
Yeah.
we were out of control.
Yeah, we were
with our
noodling.
jamming.
We were noodling, and we were having a great time. And it was really great for what we needed to do is to build this interlocking thing that could just get into the pocket and just kind of stay there.
Yep.
Because we used to play like a lot of these minor grooves that were really like slower.
Yeah.
And just really almost dub influenced.
Very nice.
And, real hypnotic stuff.
Yeah, we would call it opiate reggae sometimes.
I
'cause
like
would be
it.
so hypnotic.
Yeah.
If we took it too far, it would become this like opiate reggae.
Right.
It would almost get too heavy.
Yeah.
It was almost like the dangers of opiate use.
Yes,
it would
exactly.
get like too
Yeah.
heavy.
You're gonna fall
And we were
asleep
like,
standing up.
"Whoa." Yeah, I used to call it staring into the void. 'Cause
Right.
It would get
Yeah.
so trance-like.
Yeah.
It would just be like, whoa. And then you almost have to snap out.
You could,
and be like,
hey,
no, like,
psychedelic reggae. There you go, man.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We were really into that, and we had one of the drummers that had come at the time. I don't know if his name was Pat or Phil, but he was like, "Hey man, listen, you got to get the ladies out of their seats."
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
He kept saying it, like, and he kept saying it.
He's right.
And like,
And he was right. He was right.
and
Yeah.
so we were coming with these like really dub bass lines and real sub grooves, and he would come and he started just putting like faster stuff on it, and we like that too. You know, we're into that too. So,
Amen.
and then it became more upbeat and more fast paced. A lot of it, you know, a lot of it's like 90 BPM, high 80 BPM.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah, I
man.
feel like we're playing within a tempo range of like, at the fastest of our tempos is maybe like stuff like Wildfire.
Yeah.
And maybe stuff that's almost at like a more of like a rock steady, almost like ska.
Yeah. Yes.
rhythm.
Well, that was
And then
definitely
and
how.
then-
Yeah, I totally got that.
And then
Absolutely.
on the slower end, we got like our more roots reggae,
Yep.
kind of like dub kind of sound.
That's awesome. So I have heard you guys. You know, you said you all appreciated each other's taste in music, which is great. So I love this question right here, man. What artists do you guys listen to, man? Reggae, otherwise? What inspires you personally, and more so, what inspires you kind of collectively as a band?
It's a good question.
It could be Frank Sinatra. I don't care. I just
Man, where do you start?
Where do you
man?
begin? Who wants to go
right,
first?
Right now, I
You go
listen to
first.
a lot of Kabaka Pyramid right now.
hell yes. So do we.
And I'm really in a spot to where I was like, how do I find more artists like this? And then I identified a subgenre of like Jamaican rap.
Yes. Okay.
And I've really been getting into a lot of that music.
Nice.
Mixed in with everything else. You know, we listen to just about everything. Like, that's what I'm listening to, but influence, you know, hard rock, southern rock, funk, like all the
Nice.
we've always listened to a lot. And coming from Florida, like releasing a song like Mystic Speculation and then releasing a song like Salt Life
Yep.
is like they're really different, and sometimes the songs they could get a little southern twang.
Sure.
Like when we say swamp reggae.
Swamp reggae. Yeah, I know. It's how you guys describe yourself on your what page? I read it somewhere.
You know, so it's like Cali reggae, and I know we grew up loving a lot of the bands and still do, of course. But in Florida, it's got a little bit of a different sound, and all the
Yep.
bands here are kind of unique. I think all the bands that are like regionally great in this area, and when you go and check them out and you listen to their music, there is like a common kind of thread. It's closer to the Caribbean. It's not like a Polynesian or Hawaiian
Exactly.
kind of sound. So it's kind of cool, and I think that's our sweet spot in there. Really, where we find that pocket, infusing some of the funk, some southern sounds.
Yep.
Reggae sounds, different Cuban sounds. So we've been adding more production, and always looking for people that want to like jam and do songs together.
Hell yeah.
You know, like collabos, like we were talking about, maybe doing splits,
Nice.
collabing with people, and just doing whatever we can to really work with the people that are right around us,
Yep.
because we're already around the best people. it's just like making the connection.
Well, I'm a percussionist. Hopefully in October, when you guys are playing at our festival, I can hop up there and jam out a song with you on some congas and bongos, man. That'd be fun.
That would be very, very
awesome.
cool, Scotty. I look forward to that.
I would
bro.
love to, man. I live to play, bro. I really do.
Nice.
I'm not the greatest at all. I'm just a what do I call it? An accent player. I'm not flashy, but I get in the pocket. I don't try to make myself heard, but if the music stops, that's kind of when I want to be heard. But you know, I don't play over it. I play with it. You know, and I think that's really important, especially with reggae. You know, so
Yeah.
yep,
Heck
yeah.
discipline.
Oh, yeah.
that's a lot of.
Otherwise, you're that guy.
Yeah, I know,
that's part of it.
man. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
I was like, here's that asshole again. All you hear is ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. It's like, all right, man. Calm it down a little bit, bro. So I got your, your influences. And I hate to use the word dead, but if you guys could collaborate with any artist, living or who might have passed, individually and as a band, who do you think that would be? I know I heard Kabaka Pyramid. That'd be an amazing collaboration.
That would be a sick
that-
collaboration.
Yeah, I
that'd be sick.
think that would be incredible.
Let's see. Who else would we collaborate with? That would be amazing.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
That-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep. Anybody.
For me, I'd say John Bonham of all people.
Oh, hell yeah.
From
Led
Led
Zeppelin.
Zeppelin.
Great drummer, bro.
And then I could be the guy just playing the bongos for
That
him.
would be awesome, dude. Yep.
There's not too many guys that could hold a candle to him.
Yep. You ever seen the
for
movie
sure.
Dazed and Confused?
Yeah,
And
love that
Taylor's
movie.
talking about, he's like, John Bonham, man, a 2-hour drum solo on strong acid.
Yeah. I remember I used to watch that movie in 6th grade with my girlfriend.
Yes.
At the time. She had the cassette copy of it.
Yep.
And I think that was where I first learned about cannabis, too.
Sure.
I was like, wait, this thing you smoke and it makes you happy and
Yep.
you laugh with your friends and get hungry and vibe. I was like, get me some of that.
Oh, man. I love it.
Great film. Yep, great film.
Absolutely.
Let's see, who would I collaborate with,
Mhm.
living or dead? Ooh, man, it's such a good question. It would be cool to do a track with, Peter Tosh if he was still
Oh,
alive.
God, yeah.
Because he's just so roots and so fundamental to reggae.
Amen.
And like that deep voice,
Yep.
you know. I wish he'd stayed. Well, I wish he'd stayed alive longer, but I also wish he'd stayed with Bob Marley and the Wailers longer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because the classic lineup of Bob and Bunny Wailer and Peter Tosh. I mean, those guys sang together since childhood.
100%.
So when they were like in their prime and they brought the wah guitars in
Yep.
and had the full band, like
Yep.
they were cooking. You know
I
what I mean?
did like how
And Bob
Peter
was
got
still
militant,
cooking.
though, when he split, but, you know.
Yeah, I like that too. He got real conscious. And he
Yeah.
got very
Yep.
conscious and,
Yep.
and really pointing out things in society.
But you're
And,
right, though. Together, yes. I mean, that's...
Those guys were like, yeah. I mean, to me, those guys are like the Jamaican equivalent of like, John Lennon and George
Oh,
Harrison.
yeah,
and Paul
you can't
McCartney.
touch
Just
that,
the,
dude. That's
The
impossible.
way they sang
Yeah.
together. Yeah, you can't fake it. They grew up singing together. It's just unmistakable,
Sure.
unfakeable.
Yep.
So I think collaborating with Peter Tosh would be the shit. That's more of a personal one, though. I've never talked to you guys about that.
That would be...
But it'd be sick to get him to sing over like some Kola Green.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
man.
Be like, these are your 16 bars, bro. Like, go nuts.
Yep.
And whatever you want to do, we'll back you up.
That would be absolutely
That
phenomenal.
would be pretty sick. Who else?
Who
would you
else?
guys want to?
Prince, Hendrix. I'm making like a super group.
Oh, super group like Prince and
Oh,
Hendrix.
wow. That would be
Nice.
freaking
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Hell yeah.
Those two guitars ripping? Damn, bro. That would be cool, man.
Yeah, I like collabing with these guys.
Hell yeah.
The more that we get into it, the more that we unlock special skills.
Amen.
Of just tapping into it and trying to find different rhythms. And like you were saying about keeping it simple in the percussion, it sounds simple, but it's about the nuances.
Certainly. 100%.
Like the love and the vibe and everything is in those nuances and the small changes and just those small things because without the whole picture it doesn't have that groove.
You're right.
And it doesn't have that sound. So
Yep.
if anything starts to kind of shine too much, it's like unless it's really intentional in that section, but you got to get that perfect slap.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, I love it, man. It's personal to me. That's why I like playing percussion. I was on a podcast with Jay Cantor, Street Level Uprising. He has a Talking Reggae podcast, which I'm going to talk to him and get you guys on without a doubt. But
Cool.
he,
Awesome.
he's like, why percussion? And I was like, because to me it's personal. There's nothing between the drum skin
Yeah.
and me, if my hand is, you know what I mean? It's not a stick, or if you know, my hand is directly touching it, and I feel, you know, that's you're getting personal with that instrument. You know what I mean? You know, like with, it's direct contact to it. You know, you make it sound any way, and it's, you know, it's just, to me, it's organic. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But
It's real organic.
Yeah.
Yep, very organic, very natural. And probably, you know, the first musical instruments were like a skin stretched over,
Sure.
you know, the membrane stretched over. You know, our caveman and woman ancestors were doing that around the fire.
Sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. It's the most immediate, you know, the
Yep.
drum, the hand drum in particular.
Absolutely.
When we recorded the song The Sound, which was the first song that we dropped,
Yep.
and we put the percussion in there, and Tim played the percussion, and because we really felt like this song is like a celebration song, sing along, like hand drums, drum circle, like the whole chorus of that song came together in a way that was all like elevation, celebration.
Amen.
You know, and the drums had to go in there. Like it didn't
Yeah.
sound. It's like, you know, it's one of those things where you're sitting around and everything is cool, but you know that something is missing.
Right.
And it was the percussion.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I love it. And it's funny, but you know, songs with percussion, you know, especially when I'll play, it's, you can hear it without it, but then when you put it with it and then take it away, you're like, wait, something's not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely adds that element. But my collab would be, you guys familiar with Von Benjamin, Midnight, Akabeka? He's from St. Croix roots. Check him out, Von Benjamin. Midnight was his band, and then Akabeka, Akaebeka. He. It was like you were in a science class. Every song he sang, you were, without a doubt, learning something, man. Conscious,
Nice.
just everything. Just he was extremely well learned. When it comes to world religions, you know, he read everything from the Upanishads to the Bhagavad Gita in Hinduism, all the way to being a devout Rastafarian. So he had a lot to sing about, and it's absolutely amazing, man. You know, you just kind of sit back and you're like, all right, man, it's time to listen and learn. So absolutely fantastic stuff, man. So thank you guys. There's been some great answers so far. Now, if someone hears Kola Green for the first time right now, what's the one feeling or thought that you kind of hope they walk away with?
Man, that is a great question.
Yeah. You know,
Only one?
ideally, on an ideal level,
Yeah.
I'd like them to walk away with like a feeling of joy and like just the love of music and community.
I like that.
And that love that music can foster. You know, the community that can be engendered by
Sure.
music. You know, that's yeah, I would love them to feel that. Whether they do or not, you know, that's out of my control. But we can do our best to kind of try and sail them that way. You know, be like, no, like this is what we want you to feel, and see how close we can get.
Yep.
You know, to that.
That's
that
great
goal.
that you said that, man. I close my podcast with it's my own personal quote: "Strengthen unity, build your community." So
Nice.
I love that
I
you
love
said
that,
that,
bro.
man, because that's extremely important, brother. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Yep. I think we have very similar intentionality.
I think so,
You
too.
and Kola Green, Scotty. Heck yeah, brother.
Absolutely. All right, awesome,
think
man.
that
So
uplifting-
the other guys, you guys have like an intention or a feeling that you kind of want when people come to your shows or, you know, listen to you on streaming, that after they get done, you know, that they kind of, you know, they feel or think?
I think the uplifting feeling
Sure.
is the most thing. Self-empowerment,
Amen.
being uplifted, staying positive, being aware, and that's really where it comes from, because we listen to like such a diverse amount of music.
Yep.
And sometimes you want that militant song. Sometimes that's what you want, but sometimes you want Kola Green.
Amen.
And we're here for that.
Well, you guys are
know?
militant fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You know, so yeah, it's a lot of it is light and a lot of it is not. And
Yep.
just the more songs come out, I think the more diverse they're really going to get, because we have such a wide array of influences.
Yeah.
That as it comes together, you know, it takes time to really filter through them.
Are you guys maybe possibly, I don't want to offend anybody, but are you guys maybe, because you are a three-piece, is there a possibility that if like the right horn player or, you know, somebody came across your path that you would add
That's
it, or is
awesome that
Kola
you said
Green
that.
going to stay a three-piece straight up, that's it?
Oh, that's a really good question, Scotty. You know, I don't think either of the three of us are married to the 3-piece format.
Okay. Cool.
I think it's sort of. I think it came about as a utilitarian thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we were actually playing with a buddy of ours on keys.
Cool. Okay.
For a while there, so we actually were sort of, before we ever released anything, we were kind of jamming as a 4-piece for a little while there, actually.
Cool.
And Eric's a multi-instrumentalist, so he would come in with some wind instruments. He'd come in with some different percussion,
That's
guitars, and he added a cool layer to it. And if you listen to the first couple songs we released, you'll hear keys in it.
Nice. Yep.
And you'll hear some different things in there. And that was Eric. But then, life situations changed, and we carried on as just the 3-piece.
Nice.
So we're open-minded. And at one time, we were kind of like, all right, maybe we should go back to Craigslist and see maybe we could get more people involved because we like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're like, well, you know what? All good things are built on a strong foundation
Yes.
anyway. We need to do these things ourselves, with the 3 of us, and that really changed a lot of things when we started writing things down, gathering notebooks, doing the work, doing the legwork. Yeah.
I mean, Nirvana started out as a 3-piece, and there you go.
Yeah. And we even talked about because we love writing songs so much, we talked about more production and more elements and more people involved, even if it's just for a song. We don't have to get married to every single project, and we can just have fun and
feature somebody. Yeah.
Absolutely.
and just
I like
showcase all of our voices. So
That's cool.
Especially some local Florida musicians.
Yep.
I predict as we go forth in these next couple months, because we're kind of coming out of our shells.
Yeah.
I forget how new of a band we are, precisely because we've been playing, the 3 of us for a little over a year.
Right.
And Foster and I have been playing for a year and a half before that, before Jerry joined the team.
Yeah.
So I forget how new we are.
Right.
And so sometimes, and then I remember we just started releasing things in this.
Yeah, but when you
capacity.
have as much music out as you guys have, and about to put an album out, you already have an EP out, you've already got 6 singles out. It'd be kind of easy to forget that you're new because most new bands
Absolutely,
don't have that.
Scotty. Yep, I'd be forgetting that sometimes.
Yeah,
and then I remember it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yep.
And then what I see around us, like case in point, with you, for example, we're meeting more people by getting our music out there.
Yep.
So I foresee in the next couple of months us probably branching out and collaborating with as many local Florida artists that we like
great.
as possible.
Hell yeah. That's a beautiful thing, man.
if you're trying to spread your music message, collaborating with people is a great way to do it.
It is.
And
It's
we've been
important.
really blessed to be in a situation where we are, where we can start releasing this music and have great people around us to help mix and master it. Like we were saying, you could do it forever, tweak those knobs until the song is terrible.
Yeah, overproduce that. It's like, oh man. Yeah.
So we went outside and we were like, okay, we need to just find somebody who can mix and master this for us.
Right.
Somebody who doesn't love the song. Like somebody who doesn't love the song has to put the final shot finished, and then just take it, maybe make a revision, but don't overwork it again.
Right.
Let them put their ear to it. And so once we started doing that, that really changed it to where it's like, okay, all right, that's done. All right, that's done now. Now we can release it, and then now we can focus on new and exciting things and all different ways of rewriting the songs.
That's awesome.
And I think with just 3 of us, it helps us keep maybe the discipline
of
being able to put the music out like that, because we're in a routine now. We know practice is certain days and the time, and sometimes to bring an extra person in, is going to be
throwing a wrench
more
in it,
complications. And
Yep.
Because again, like you said, we all got to work and we got life. And,
And then they have to click, It's like, all right, so they meet all this criteria. They can show up. They can do this. They have their own instruments. Now we actually have to get along and agree musically. That's like all the stars aligning type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
100%, Scotty. And it's a gamble too, because when you meet someone, they could be cool.
Yeah.
And you might have a great time chilling with them, but can you work with them?
Exactly.
So it's like you might be able to bro down with them and puff tough. Drink a couple beers, what have you, shoot the shit. When it comes time to get work done in the music room, do you see eye to eye? Will you be on a whole different page? And it's like, that's when people become like a liability.
It is.
That's when
I'm pretty tough to, it's funny, you know, a lot of, you know, I had the record label, and yeah, obviously I do this and work with a lot of promotions, and I have my nonprofit. But I'm, yeah, my wife's like, you're kind of difficult to work with sometimes because I'm rapid fire. People aren't used to it. I'll literally, if I have an idea, I'll, you know, 20 ideas at once, boom, 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 and people are like, yeah, they get pretty overwhelmed. But that's how my brain works, you know. But I think I kind of freak a lot of people out. So, but it's all from a good place, you know what I mean? But yes.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to get it out.
Yep, 100%. And that's your work. That's your personal work style, you know. And
It is.
Other people don't. Other people don't work like that.
No.
Are freaked out by it.
Yeah.
But then people who do work like that, they understand.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, Scotty's the man. He's doing good things, you know.
They love it. They love it. But it doesn't, you know,
Yeah.
for a lot of people that are a little more relaxed, it's like, holy crap. So I totally get, you know, having to be able to, you know, everybody's got to be able to gel, man. Like you said, you know, if you're up there with a band and you guys don't get along, it's going to affect the sound, you know. 100%.
100%.
Yep.
A lot of the songs, they start from like a freestyle jam place.
Right.
Like we'll just start just kind of creeping into something and then exploring every little version and variation of that until, you know, like when you can say the word so many times it doesn't sound like a word anymore.
Yes.
But with bass lines.
Yeah,
And
yep.
with guitar riffs and with melody and with different things to where you're just like, you're really trying to lock in on the purest form of it.
Yep.
And then pluck that right out of there.
That's
You
awesome,
know,
man.
Try to capture lightning in a bottle.
Amen. I like that.
That's what we're all doing, I guess.
Really good analogy, man. So what's you guys' vision for the rest of 2025? I know you said you had an album coming out. I know you're playing the festival for my nonprofit kickoff October 18th and 19th. You guys are playing both days.
Yes, sir.
It's called Awaken on the River. People listening, check out awakenontheriver.com. No www. If you type in www, it won't take you there. It's just awakenontheriver.com. It's going to be a great event, a reggae gathering, and all sorts of cool stuff. We're even going to have a tie-dye station, bro. So a lot of fun. But
we're really excited about it.
Oh yeah, I wanted you guys on immediately the second I heard you.
We hope to see you all there. It's going to be off the chain awesomeness.
It's gonna be fun, man. Yep.
sure.
What else you guys have? Throw it at me. Any shows? Any community projects? You making music videos for your releases? Anything like that?
We're definitely working on some videos and just trying to continue with the discipline of trying to stay on schedule with the songs.
Yep.
Without sacrificing musicianship.
Yes, right.
Sometimes things take a little bit longer to get right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or till we're all happy with it.
Yep.
But if we kind of set a deadline, then that puts pressure on ourselves.
Yes.
So we do our best to keep up with it.
Yep.
We have a pipeline though, you know, so like Wildfire is coming out right now.
Yes.
It's about to drop, which we're really excited about, and the artwork.
I like the artwork.
Sky. Oh, yeah.
Shout out Mike Zoltansky.
That's great artwork.
Sick artist. You guys should all check out.
Yeah, he blessed us.
Michael
with that.
Zoltansky.
Check out Mike.
He's
Yeah.
doing great work.
Yeah, he's doing incredible stuff, and everything that I've seen by him has been great, and we were lucky enough that he was willing to do that. We sent him the song, you know, a while ago, and we were like, would you be interested? What kind of ideas would you have for this? And he killed it.
That's awesome.
So that's coming out, and so we're really excited about that. But we also, right behind that, we have Dutch Breakfast
Nice.
is going to drop next, and so that's another like really happy kind of song. It is what it sounds like, and I hope that everybody loves it because it's really about just waking up in the morning and just, you know, realizing your life and being happy about it.
That's beautiful,
Being
man.
into it.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, that's awesome, dude. You guys are definitely grinding. Like I said, really excited to have you at my event. I kind of had the set times down, but my goal is to. I was talking to Foster yesterday on when you play on Sunday to have you either what's main support or actually the headlining, the closing band. So I feel like that's great for guys
do
like
whatever you
you to
want.
be able to put on your, you know, hey man, we've been a band 2 years already, you know, headlined a day at a festival, and you deserve it. You know, you're putting out that much music. It sounds good. You're that. I call it reggae adjacent. It's it's not 100% roots reggae, but it's very, very it fits in the reggae scene perfectly. And you guys are a very welcome
Thank you.
addition to our event because I want that vibe there. I really do. and I was kind of hoping for the right band, and sure enough, you guys came along. That's great, man. I really like it.
We appreciate
Thank you very much, Scotty.
Absolutely,
when we saw
man.
the lineup, and then you asked if we wanted to play, we jumped on it immediately
Yes.
because it just seemed like such a great event.
Yep.
I know there's going to be people camping. It's going to be,
Oh, yeah.
you know, multiple days.
Yep.
There's going to be lots of great bands there.
Yep.
You're going to be performing there too.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yep.
So yeah, we're looking forward to that right now, and then just staying on top of, you know, just writing music together. And when you play out how much time you're able to invest into it, when you have a life and family and job and all the responsibilities you put on yourself, sometimes, you know, it's not that many hours out of a month that you're actually able to do it together.
That's right.
So sometimes we do things like separate, you know, like because you want to talk to people and connect with people, so you're working on different social media. And then, you know, like music videos, like we got different music videos coming, and it's kind of like, well, why do music videos? Like, why do music videos? Like, it's another thing that we're excited about doing, but then you really want to write and sing songs with your friends.
Yes.
You know,
Amen.
so it's like you don't want to be an influencer or a creator. Like how I was talking about, once we actually started recording every rehearsal, it was like there was another person in the room that nobody was friends with.
Right.
And you start talking like that.
Yeah.
That's what happens with the video camera. Like we got comfortable with the microphone after doing that for a while. You just kind of know, and you actually start nailing your parts, and you actually like it makes you better. I think in some ways.
That's awesome.
But when the video comes out, it's the same thing. You know, the video comes out, and you know, we just want to take it one step at a time and keep it organic, not force anything.
Yes.
Like we haven't forced anything yet. We've been taking our sweet ass time with everything that we do. So, you know, we're just trying to keep it like that.
Awesome,
Keep it
man.
real.
Yeah, man, 100%. Very cool,
That's
man.
all.
So, where can folks connect with Kola Green online or in real life? Where can we send them to support your music? Give us all the links you got, man.
That's a fine question. You can check us out on Instagram. I think it's Kola_Green.
And it's
right?
Kola, guys. Kola,
Yep,
not like Coca-Cola.
Kola
Yep.
_GREEN.
When we started writing it, it was like Kola Green, and when we were typing it in with a C, and you get this like Coca-Cola. It's like it was like
Yeah.
we were like, you know, we were like, this is really cool kind of name. It really describes, you know, something that we wanted to put out
Yep.
there. And it was like Coca-Cola. And we were like, oh, Kola Green. There it is. So it's Kola with a K.
Yep.
Anywhere on YouTube. We released a video for Self-Control. That was just us just playing the song live in the studio. And I think somebody dubbed the actual studio audio over top of us, like playing it live in the studio. That was just for fun. And we just edited it together. So that was just one night where we went to go mix one of the songs at the Hitbox in Port St. Lucie.
Nice.
Shout out Mike Bamonti.
Shout out, Mike.
So we went there to mix one of the songs, and we just brought the video footage with us. We brought the cameras, and we just filmed everything that happened, and then just chopped it out and put it out, because we don't want to overthink it. Like,
Yep.
that's real life. Like, that's what we really did, like,
Yep.
day in the life of. So I think we're going to do more stuff like
That's
that.
fun.
Because we don't want to be sitting there editing things forever. And like,
I want us to make a video where I get to float around Foster's pool on a pool float.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
Some
yeah,
shades
man.
on, maybe like smoking something on a real hot day.
Yep. Well, if you guys are fishermen at the event, it's freshwater, but it's right on the Ocklawaha River. Literally, the campsite is, if you step out of your tent and you trip over a log, you're gonna be floating in the river. Really good fishing there, so maybe you should get some
hear
footage
that?
of you guys, you know, fishing and stuff too, man. You know, that's always fun to put
Oh,
in.
that'd be cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
now you're talking. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We could bring some kayaks out there. There's probably going to be some people kayaking and doing stuff.
Kayaks, fishing. I would not swim. It's a gator population, but it would be October, man. The gators aren't really too active in October. But yeah, I mean the fishing is yeah, like I said, if you like freshwater fishing, it's spectacular right from the May. So very awesome, man.
Phenomenal.
Here's the Hippie FarI Reggae fishing report.
I love it.
I wanna see it live.
It's high tide, I think. I don't.
Yeah, high tide, low tide. It's always the right time.
That's it, man.
Yep,
Yep.
that's right.
You got a pole? Yeah, go. You're good to go, man. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy night to come on Hippie FarI Reggae Radio and Podcast, man. It has been an absolute honor having you guys on.
Thanks, Scott.
You're professional. You're funny. You're down to earth. You're easy to talk to. You're great musicians. You're putting out music. You're doing it right. Keep it up, man. You guys are you're onto something. We love it over here, man.
We appreciate you. Thanks again.
Thanks again,
Absolutely.
Scotty.
And I'm going to be getting some nice band interviews at the event. So look forward to being interviewed by me again. And maybe at the towards the end of the year, once all of the the rest of this music has come out, we're gonna have you back on. We can talk about all the stuff that came out and what you're looking forward to coming up in 26. So
Cool, can't wait.
Dope, looking forward to it.
awesome, man. Well, thank you guys so much. We definitely appreciate it, man. And there is strength in unity. So build your community. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Shoot me an email, hippieFarIreggae@gmail.com. And go to my website, hippiefari.podbean.com. And this is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie and Kira the Irie Empress, reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. Do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip that homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart. All good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms, they're all a part of that reggae revolution. One love, fam.